So I'm back with part 2 of my process for making a shield for my son. He saw the shape of it and he won't leave me alone about it. So even though I don't have the hardware that I need and the last of the paint that I need, figure I can at least start painting the front. I've got all the paint and stuff that I need for the front. So I'll get it done and then I can do the straps and stuff on the back and the painting on the back and stuff like that when that stuff shows up next week. So all I kind of need to do now is I have to prep the surface, get it ready, try and figure out how I'm going to mask off the areas I want to paint and go from there. So don't need much. I'm going to use some painter's tape. I might need to use a little razor blade, some mineral spirits just to help clean up the surface. For paint, I did some research and it looks like Krylon Fusion for plastics is the preferred thing to use on plexiglass. It should be alright. They don't have much in the way of colors. I think the patriotic blue for Captain America is probably the way to go. They've only got one red and one gloss white, so the blues only come in gloss, so instead of getting a flat white or something, I just got everything gloss and we'll go from there. And other than dust masks and other stuff we need, I don't think there's anything else that I'm missing. So we'll get started with prepping the surface and then try and figure out how we're going to mask off. We're going to paint the blue. I think I want to start with the blue paint. So I'll shift you down so you can see what I'm doing and we'll go from there. I'm sure there's probably a better way to do this than what I'm doing it, but I haven't found it yet and we'll just kind of wing it from now. So I'm just going to take a piece of 220 grit sandpaper and just scuff up the surface a little bit, just make it so it's not quite so smooth. I've taken the plastic film off this side already. I'm going to leave the plastic film on the back. I see some scratches on the back. Hopefully it's just in the plastic. My son decided instead of listening and leaving it alone, he would drag it around for the better part of the day yesterday, and so I'm hoping that he didn't scratch it up too bad, but it's a shield. Battle damage is acceptable, stuff like that. So I just scrubbed it up and take a little bit of water on a damp cloth and wipe some of that dust off. Okay. Get the dust off. That done. I got another dry cloth here just to dry it. I don't have to wait for it to dry. That's good. And I'm just going to take a very little bit of some mineral spirits. I'll do this where you guys can see it. And just give it a quick little wipe just to get any oils and residue off and stuff. I don't think I need too much. I've never used it before, but I'm sure I don't need too much, and it should, I would think, evaporate relatively quickly. Close that up. I don't need to be having that gassing all over the place. Okay, I'll let that do. So now, I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. We've got this to work with. So, I could either cut it with a razor blade or maybe grab a pair of scissors. Might be the easiest way to do it. I know I'm going to need the razor blade to cut the masking tape off of the shield itself, but I think, I don't know, I might be able to get a little straighter with scissors. I'll cut along the line. This top area here is going to be blue, the stars are going to be white, and then we're going to alternate red and white stripes here. So what my plan to do is I'm going to paint all the blue first, and then I'm going to mask off the blue, and I'm going to paint the whole bottom of the shield red, and I should be able to cover up the red with the white, or the red and the blue with the white spray paint, so I can have nice white stars and nice white and red stripes on the bottom. So that is my plan. According to everything I've read on this paint, that should work. I'm just hoping they're not lying to me. I imagine the only thing I'll need is more paint. So it just might take a couple more coats to do the white than it will to do the red and the blue, I'm thinking. Okay, that should be close enough. Okay, so I need, apologize, you guys are kind of looking upside down there, but I need that to be there. So I'm going to take a piece of 2-inch painter's tape, and if it'll work for me, come on, put just a big strip of tape right at the top of where that paper is. I'll take it off and then I'll mark that line. So we should be right about there-ish. Let's see how close that is. I can bring this side down a little bit. That'll work. Perfect. You know, I'm going to mark this the same way I marked out the template before that you didn't see. I'm just going to take a black marker, go over the edge of the line up here so that it colors on both the paper and the line, and it should give me a pretty good transfer mark all along here. I'm going to kind of skip the step where I tape down the paper and hope for the best. So I don't know how well you can see, but I'm just trying to color on both the tape and the paper. Instead of just tracing down the edge of the line and stuff like that, I figured this is the best way to get the most accurate representation of that line. Except I got that wet spot there. There, I'll just do some dabbing there. Take it off and there. Okay, so that's the line we need to follow. Now what I was thinking was, if I cut right on the edge of that line and paint that blue, and then I go and I put the paper for the top on to mask off for the area I want to paint red, if it's not 100% perfect, I might end up with a seam there. So what I was thinking about doing was just painting the blue a little bit wider. That way, if my taping isn't quite 100%, the red will go up over top of the blue. And now as long as I don't paint too thick, we should be okay. It shouldn't give me a noticeable seam. So I'm just going to do not much, maybe put another line in here about 1/8 of an inch-ish down or so. As long as it's close, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a straight line. I'll just try and eyeball it as close as I can. Do something like that. Notice I got some marker there or something. Okay, now I really don't want to score the plastic, so I'm going to try my best with the razor blade here to cut down that line and be very gentle so I don't mess anything up. It's a brand new blade, so as long as I'm careful, it should work out really well. Now how... Oh wow, that actually worked relatively well. Keep holding down close to the line here. Oh, I'm actually kind of impressed. We'll see how well it worked after the paint's on it and stuff like that, but so far so good. Okay, so I'm going to wrap that around, wrap that around. Give this another quick little wipe up here. Okay, now I just got some newspaper and stuff to cover up the last part at the bottom. Just to make sure. I don't want to end up with any splatter or spots or anything. So I just got some narrower regular painter's tape, and I'll just use it because my 2-inch stock is a little shy and I know I'm going to need a bunch more of it. Okay, so now I'm going to go paint the blue. I'm not going to take you in there. I'll show you where I'm working and stuff like that, but I don't want to get any paint on the camera. All this says is, once you get it all prepped and stuff like that, shake the can like crazy for 1 to 2 minutes. Test a little area first, make sure that it works. Hold it 8 inches from the spray, sweep from side to side, a little overlap. It says do a real fine dusting first, then every about 15 minutes or so you can go and you can apply another coat. And if you don't do your second coat or any other coats before 24 hours, you have to wait 7 full days. So I'm hoping that today I can have all the blue, the white, and the red done. And it seems like once one color's done, if you wait a couple hours, you should be able to tape over top of the paint that you've got on, and it should stay. That'll be the part that scares the crap out of me, because I don't want to put the tape on, paint my red, pull the tape off, and then have to redo the blue, especially 7 days later. So I'm going to get the blue done, and we are going to hope for the best that it holds on tight. So. Okay, so obviously when you're painting, you're going to want to use a good respirator and some eyeglasses and stuff, and I use some plastic gloves on my hands so I don't get paint all over. But so far, just with the first coat, it's looking like the color should be pretty good. I think that patriotic blue is definitely the right choice for his shield. So we'll see. I'll do a couple more coats on over the next little while, and when the blue's done, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll start taping off to do the red. Catch you in a bit. So I just did 5 coats of blue paint. It actually looks really, really well. It covers in nice. I think I really like it. So I took all the paint and masking tape off because I didn't want the spray paint to dry too hard to the masking tape and peel off when I took it off. So I wanted to take it off while it was still a little damp. It's supposed to sit for a couple hours before I can put masking tape on it, and then we'll try putting the red on and see how that works. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, the paint's dry. I'm going to switch to red. If I can find a way to time lapse this so it goes a little bit faster, then I'll do that. But I'm just going to, I've already wiped everything down with mineral spirits and stuff like that, so I just got to tape it off, mark it out, and get everything covered up and start hitting with some red paint. So like I said, if I can time lapse this to save everyone some watching time, I will, but I will try and get her done as fast as I can. All right, see how we did. That looks all right. Wrap these around. You know what? I think I'm just going to cover this whole blue part with masking tape because I'm going to have to do that anyways when I go to put tape off for my stars, so I may as well do it right now. Save myself a little bit of time later. And it has to be covered with something anyways, may as well be tape. Well, something else I forgot to do the first time too was make sure that that seam is pushed down nice and tight. So just to make sure that there's no bleeding or anything like that that takes place. So I'm going to paint it the exact same way. I'm going to hit it with a nice light dusting first, and then go back and do multiple layers. I'll probably do 5 coats again because it seemed to work really well on the blue and stuff like that, and I will show you what it looks like when it's all red. Okay, the red's done. Looks really good, I think. Worked out really well. If you look really close though, you can kind of still see where the blue went underneath the paint, and I'd forgotten something I learned a long time ago. Red doesn't cover worth a hoot, so if I did this again, I would do red on the bottom, blue over top, and then I'm hoping that the white covers everything up nicely. I ended up having to do something like 10 coats of red paint to cover up that blue stripe, so that is actually way too much. I just ended up burning a bunch of red paint. It covered up the clear perfectly fine in 5 coats, but that blue just shone through, and it took forever to do that. So right now I've got to draw out where the stars are going to be in the stripes, and in order to do that I'm going to use something called graphite tracing paper. What it is, it's a piece of paper that you can get that's got graphite dust on one side. You put it on your surface you want to transfer to, you put a piece of paper over top of it, and then you take like a sharp pencil or something, you trace the lines and stuff, and what it does is it transfers pencil lines to your paper so you can cut it out or draw or color underneath. So we'll get that done quick and get this white paint started, and hopefully in a couple hours the white paint's going to be all done and we'll be able to see what it looks like. Okay, I'm gonna let my dog out. Are you gonna come out or are you just gonna sit there and bark? Sorry, it's my dog. He's feeling a little lonely this morning. So we're just gonna line this up with the edge of the tape underneath. I left the tape on right on the bottom just so that I could have something to line up to. I'm going to tape one side down so I can get the graphite paper underneath. I don't want it moving, so I'm just going to tape it so I don't have to pay as close of attention. I'd hate to have it shift or something like that. And then here's the graphite tracing paper. It's really, really thin, and it's got just a fine, it's hard to tell, fine graphite dust on this one side. And I use it for tons of transferring and stuff like that. I'm sure there's another way to do it, but it has served me really well over the years. I'll put that there. That's it over there. I need another little piece of tape. There's the tape. I have a weird feeling that I might have to use my razor blade when I go to take the tape off later and just quickly score where the red paint meets the tape, just to make sure that it didn't get messed up. Now the only thing I really need to do is make sure that paper went down plenty far enough. I think it might have to come down a bit yet. There, that should do her. Oh, and I'll have to shift it over later. Okay, so start on the first one. Now I'm going to use a straight edge because I'm going to try and get as close to perfectly straight lines as I can get. So I'm going to use a straight edge on the star, sharpen up a nice little pencil. Alrighty, take this off and see how it worked. Perfect. Okay, see that? Stars came out nice and crisp, easy to follow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a quick piece of, let's see how this sits here. I'm going to put a top piece of tape here on. cheap on my tape again. Okay, put that on. Quickly put on the bottom here. And then I'm going to quickly just mark the top where I want it. So when I know when I'm scoring later where the paint transition is, because I want to make sure that I get up high enough. I don't want to end up with some red between my white and blue stripes. So I want to make sure I know exactly how far away from the edge I am so I can score it and get over there. This might be unneeded, but you're going to do it anyways. Alright, okay. Now I'm just going to cover the rest. Tape one side of this on. It should be close enough. Tape that side. All the way over there. You know what? I'm glad I marked that too. It's helping me line this up. I got it up on that line there. Got it up on this line here. Should be good. No, that looks good. Take down the end. Okay, so it goes red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red. Okay, so I need all the lines, unfortunately. Come on, big money. Beautiful. All right. There's all the lines. So now, just need my razor blade, a straight edge, cut out the stars and the stripes, and I can hit her with some paint. Slowly getting her to where I need to be. Okay, I think I'm going to start on the stars. I'm going to use this. Good thing about having a nice smooth metal ruler is it gives you something to follow. And I'm just gently trying to pick the tape off without making any dings and nicks, and I'll watch as it comes off with the razor blade. That's roughly the look I'm going for. I'm going to do the rest of that and I'll show you what it looks like before I paint. Okay, I've got it all taped off. This is what it looks like. It's kind of a cross between the Incredible Hulk and Captain America. We're going to paint her white and see how it turns out. Okay, so here we are. The white paint's kind of dry enough to unwrap it. It's kind of like, I don't know, getting a present from your brother when you're 12 years old. You don't know whether it's going to be a can of worms or something actually half decent. So let's get this paint off and see what the front of this thing is going to end up actually looking like. Okay, here's where we're at. That actually turned out really well. So all I have left to do is I gotta buy the hardware for the straps on the back. We'll talk about that in the next video series and then we'll be done. I think I'm going to paint the back of the shield like a metallic silver so that when, not really if he starts taking paint off, when he takes paint off, it'll scrape off and then it might give it like a worn metallic look underneath on the back and stuff like that. Maybe it won't look so crappy, you know, it won't look clear once he scrapes it off. There'll be like a metallic sheen behind it. So it'll look like maybe it's battle damage or something. If you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe and feel free to leave whatever comments in the comment section. I'm going to try and read all of them as much as I can and get back to as many as possible. Thank you very much.